Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Wild West Banter podcast. On today's episode, we are going to take a little bit of a deep dive into the recently released ESPN roster rankings, as well as getting into some of the upcoming training camp battles. Then we're going to finish it off with some season betting totals for the AFC West. My name is Nick Carr, joined as always by Matthew Griffin. Matthew, it's been a while. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good to be back. It has been a minute, so I'm happy to be doing this again. This time of year is difficult for sure. I'm getting impatient, to be honest with you. I'm real impatient. You know, this time of year, everything else is kind of finalized. If you like the World Cup, whatever, that's done. Everything else is done, man. Training camp's right around the corner, so I'm super excited for that. I'm getting antsy, and I can't wait for that to start. It's going to bring us a lot more content to talk about too, some good storylines, and be the beginning of fall and getting football season back.
I know.
I'm excited for that, but yeah, otherwise, all good.
Yeah, I mean, life has been rather crazy these last handful of months, but yeah, we're kind of getting back to normalcy and getting back to football. So I know training camp for the Broncos, rookies report on, I believe it's the 22nd, I want to say. So we're about 10 days out now. But yeah,
vets are what, like 27, 28?
Yeah, they're I believe like a week later. So.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Dude, and then preseason will be at it, and for those that hate preseason, I love watching preseason.
How could you not?
Like I get it. It may not be the most exciting games, but dude, I love it. It's the beginning. I would watch every preseason game just to get football back on TV.
Well, that's where stars are born.
There's always some fun shit to talk about that people make some names for themselves. Maybe we'll talk about a few here today. So yeah. I'm excited.
Right on. So I know Matthew wanted to get into the ESPN roster rankings. I'll be completely honest about this. I kind of saw it a little bit. I didn't pay too much attention to it because the Broncos are always severely under liked in these things. They never get enough credit. But Matthew, I'm going to kind of let you take it away here and just kind of throw things at me, and maybe we'll give our own analysis on some of this stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through every single 1 through 32. We'll kind of jump to the AFC West, and with that, I think we can look at some of the teams just before or just after, too, because, if you think the Broncos are underrated or over it or, whoever it might be, let's look at some of those teams before, and if a case can be made to either in our own rankings, if we would bump you guys up or bump back.
Sure.
But I'll have you know, you guys did clock in as the best roster in the AFC West.
So before you go any further, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
But we'll get into this later on into the episode. All the sports books have the Broncos as third place in the AFC West. Yeah. So how does this make any sense?
Yeah, I think that's going to be some good topic of discussion when we dive into some of these odds. A little sneak peek at the odds. The Broncos are not well liked by the sports books. Right. But ESPN likes you guys, apparently. So you guys slotted in at number 8 and this is overall just most complete rosters.
Okay.
That's my understanding of how they did this. They list the projected starters at all positions, and then they list your biggest strength, your biggest weakness, an X factor for your team, and then basically a non-starter player to pay attention to, keep an eye on, that might make some noise this year, might kind of make a name for himself, which I like. I think that's a cool addition to this. So before I dive into Denver's analysis, I'll just let you know who's right above you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys are 8. The New England Patriots are 7.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions are 6. And then if you want the 5, it's the Ravens at 5, Buffalo at 4, Seattle at 3, Eagles at 2, Rams at 1.
Cool. So
before even diving in, do you have any gripes about the people immediately ahead of you guys? And if so, who would you jump in your opinion?
I would say that there's only one team that I think that does not belong ahead of us, and that's the New England Patriots. And they have them at number 7, correct?
They do have them at 7. Yes.
So if I were to kind of take a guess as to why they have this there, they believe that Drake May is the better quarterback. For whatever reason, A.J. Brown is getting a ton of hype, even though I think it's unwarranted. But for me, there is a clear gap between our defenses. I think that there's a clear gap when we're talking about the trenches, not only on the defensive side, but certainly on our offensive line. And then when we're talking about like our weapons as a whole on offense, I would say that we have the better weapons. I mean,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, like you have the promise of Travion Henderson.
Yeah, I like the running back room.
But
Ramondre complements well with Travion.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like Hunter Henry is aging out. I'm not going to say that Evan Ingram's better than him. I'm not going to say that at all.
Yeah, certainly.
But our wide receiver depth is clearly better than New England's.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, they spent good money. Obviously, they landed A.J. Brown in the trade, but then through that contract at Romeo Doubs to be. Yeah. And he doesn't do it for me. Is he an immediate upgrade because they lacked weapons? Sure, but I'm not sold on them either. For what it's worth, their biggest strength, they put their secondary, which tracks. They have a fantastic secondary. Biggest weakness was edge rusher. You know, Harold Landry and Draymond Jones is the two there, and then yeah. But anyways, going back to Denver, you guys are at number 8. The biggest strength of your team, according to the ESPN analysis, is your offensive line, which I think isn't a surprise to anybody. You guys have just an incredible unit on that offensive line's fucking awesome, man. You guys are very lucky, and they just cite, kind of what you guys did last year with your pass block win rate, your run block win rate, and going through left tackle to right tackle. You guys just have dogs along the line. So you'd agree that's your biggest strength?
I mean, of course. Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could toss our secondary in there as well, our pass rush in there as well. But, there was a somewhat big loss on our defensive line in Jonathan Franklin Myers. So so we'll see kind of how we address that and trying to fill that void. And then, I mean, as far as the secondary goes, like Riley Moss kind of got picked on a lot last year, so we'll see how he bounces back this year. We're going to see if we get any progression out of Jahdae Barron. So I would say that, in terms of questions, there is no questions on our offensive line. So, I would agree with that.
Yeah, sounds good. And then with your biggest weakness, they have the tight end room. Yeah. Ranked. I think it was either going to be tight end or linebacker. Yeah. Either one. But, I mean, they cite going after this position group that didn't improve much from last season. Obviously, Evan Ingram is kind of your vet there. Played a career low, 42% of your snaps last year, 1 touchdown, and he's 32 years old now. And then, obviously, it sounds like you have Adam Trotman and
Justin Jolie.
Jolie, your new guy, the rookie. So
I'm going to kind of save my talk on this as far as the tight end room for when we talk about training camp battles.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's a big battle there in training camp.
Your X factor for 2026, according to the ESPN analyst, is QB Bo Nix. They're assuming he's fully recovered, healthy, which all signs are looking very good for that.
It's not an assumption anymore. Injury. He is.
Yeah, he looks full go. Yeah. Going to be ready on track for training camp with no concerns. And what they're going to be able to get out of him going into this is his third season. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. The only things they cite, elite play caller Champagne, he ranked 15th in the league in QBR last year. And then they cite you guys added Jalen Waddle, which should do big things for you guys. And then if Nix can up his game a bit, the Broncos will quickly become one of the title favorites from Walder. So that's your X factor for 2026. Do you have any thoughts on that? Agreements, disagreements? Would you throw somebody else in as an X factor or?
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of a cop-out answer to me because, of course, like you want your quarterback to be the X factor on your team. Right. And I see kind of where they're going with that because I feel like there are still some question marks with Bo Nix. But, as everyone probably
will you say
that's
that
listening.
one more time?
There are some question marks. I mean, there certainly are, but I feel like he's also proven enough to be a top 12 quarterback in this league. But with that being said, I think that we're looking for him to take that next step and really cementing himself as a top 10 guy in this league. So, I mean, if we're looking at a similar path to like a Josh Allen, now with that being said, I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but we're looking for a similar path to what Josh Allen was able to do in his third year, where he really took that next step. But if you're asking me for who the real X factor is here, and it's kind of an easy answer for me, it's Jalen Waddle. You bring the guy in, he added the juice that we needed to this offense, and I think that he's really going to be that guy that defenses are going to have to plan for. And being honest, like we haven't had that guy here in Denver since probably Demaryius Thomas, So I think Jalen Waddle's the true X factor on this team.
Yeah, I'll tell you from the outside looking in, I agree with all those points. If I had to give you one of my own, I would say your running back room and the run game as a whole for you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, that entire argument just circulates around J.K. Dobbins' health. And that's probably a cop-out, too, because that's an easy answer, right? Is J.K. Dobbins going to play the majority of this season? And if he is, then I don't have as many concerns for your guys' run game because I think he's an awesome running back. I really like J.K. But we've seen time and time again that can't be relied upon. So if J.K. Dobbins does go down, my X factor is can you guys still sustain a type of run game? And a lot of that's going to be on the burden of your new rookie, Jonah Coleman, and R.J. Harvey. And the development of Harvey going into year two and how Jonah Coleman makes a name for himself as a rookie. So I think your run game is something that should be mentioned as well.
I agree, and that's also another training camp battle type of thing for me too. So,
all right, we won't get ahead of ourselves. Your non-starter to know, they put Jonah Ellis, and with that being said, it said he dropped from 5 sacks as a rookie to 2.5 sacks last year, but very important part of your pass rush rotation. And they cite this is actually pretty impressive, and I would not have guessed this. His pass rush win rate of 14.3% last season was pretty damn close to Aiden Hutchinson and Daniil Hunter. And would have ranked 17th if he had enough snaps to qualify. He didn't qualify just because of how many pure pass rush snaps that Jonah Ellis got, which is common. You guys have a stacked room and you have solidified guys back there, so he's trying to get on the field. But that is your non-starter to know from ESPN. Any thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, I like it. I think that this is kind of like another training camp battle thing where now that Jonathan Cooper, he's going through whatever he's going through, and we don't really know what's going to happen with that. I'm kind of moving on to into the future as if he is not a part of the team. Okay. But again, I don't know. So that edge rush position opposite of Nick Benito is going to be really interesting to kind of pay attention to here in training camp. ESPN states Jonah Ellis, which I like. He's been a very, very, very good rotational piece for us. But the edge rusher, and I've mentioned his name a few times on this podcast, is Q Robinson. That's my guy that he's not known in the league hardly at all, and he was a rookie last year. But I think Q Robinson has the stuff to be one of the better pass rushers in this league, and he just hasn't gotten a chance yet. So that's one of those training camp battles that I'm really looking forward to see who is going to be opposite of Nick Benito, and I think Q Robinson's the name that you need to know.
All right. I like it.
Perfect.
We can move down the list. So that's you guys. Congratulations. You did take the crown of the AFC West on this.
Get used to that.
I'm going to save a little bit of my uncomfortability with this. The Chiefs are the next on the list, and I'll wait until we're up. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't like it. But the Chiefs come in at number 12.
Okay.
Just before the Chiefs, you have San Francisco at 11. You have Green Bay at 10, and then you have Houston at 9. So which I agree all three of those teams should be ahead of Kansas City. I don't have any gripes with that. I'll save for who's behind them next. However, they run through their projected starters. Biggest strength for the Chiefs, they put the quarterback position. In my opinion, that's a cop-out. It's Patrick Mahomes. We get it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say about that. He is the heart and soul of that team. He's coming back from that torn ACL, and, they're really hoping for just a major bounce-back season from Pat. So that's who they put as the biggest strength on that team. Biggest weakness, they put the offensive tackles. They talk about what they did in free agency and all that kind of stuff, but their tackles ranked 31st in the entire league in run block win rate last season. They cite the shitty contract of Jawan Taylor, which they just got out of. Yeah. And now they have their longtime reserve Jalen Moore at right tackle, and then left tackle Josh Simmons, who started 8 games as a rookie last year. I guess he was a first-round pick, 2025 first-round pick. Mm-hmm. So, and then they just don't. They're not very deep at that position. In my opinion, it's highly unproven. Jalen Moore, I don't mind him as a rotational, like a swing tackle. If that's your swing tackle, I'm cool with that. I don't know how much you're going to get out of Jalen Moore in a full 17-game season as your starting right tackle. I wouldn't be extremely comfortable with that. And Josh Simmons, I was not impressed with what I saw from him. No. I know he's a rookie. I know he started 8 games. I'm not saying he can't be a good player in this league, but I was less than impressed with Josh Simmons, and I think he left a lot on the table, and I think he presents a variety of his own weaknesses too.
Yeah, well, this is yet another training camp battle type of thing. So, Andy Reid has stated that right tackle position is definitely open for the starting position. I believe they have 3 guys right now that are vying for that spot. But, yeah, this offensive line is pretty terrible outside of Creed Humphrey.
Creed and Trey.
Yeah.
That's it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with ESPN for the biggest weakness there. This one I do like from them because this is going to also go into training camp battles for Kansas City. But the X factor for 2026, they just say the second edge rusher, whoever that is, just the second edge rusher that can present themselves on this team. We know Karlaftis from Michigan is their guy.
Yeah.
And he's solid. He's a good player. He's solidified himself in this league. But they have not done a good job in getting someone opposite of. You all right?
Dude, so these beers I think are the strongest beers I've ever had in my entire life. Matthew has
I looked over. Hey, dude, you look fucked up.
Dude,
I don't know if you're about to shit or throw
German
up.
beers. I've never heard of them ever. They taste delicious, but holy shit.
Dude, I thought that said 11%. That's ounces.
But I'm feeling it. I'm like halfway through this beer.
Yeah, no, I like them.
I haven't eaten anything today outside of an acai bowl. That's all I've had today. And holy shit, dude. You're like speaking a different language to me right now.
I'm like Oktoberfest beer. These are good, dude.
And Matthew's a cheap son of a bitch and doesn't turn on his AC in the summer.
No,
so
there's AC on.
Oh.
There's AC on.
All right. So
all right, back to
the second edge rusher. Holy hell.
Yeah, and some people they talk about second-year player Ashton Gillott or former first-round pick Uzama, Anudike Uzama. Who I think could present themselves is R. Mason Thomas, this year's second-round pick.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're hoping for. But regardless, you have 3 unproven question mark guys in some capacity, and you need someone to step up and fill that edge 2 spot that can get some kind of pass rush productivity outside of Karlaftis. So I think that's a big one for them.
No, I agree. I think that the Chiefs are in a good position on that defensive line, obviously with Karlaftis, and then you still have Chris Jones. I really do like the Peter Woods pick there. Yeah. We'll see how that turns out. Obviously, there were question marks around him during the draft, but I think that's just one of those scenarios where people were kind of just overlooking who he is.
His talent's there.
But yeah, that other side of Karlaftis on the edge there. Of course, it's a question mark, and I'm on the same page here with you. I do like R. Mason Thomas. I don't think he's a guy that's going to go out there and get you 12 to 15 sacks. That's not who he is. But you can certainly get 8 sacks out of the guy. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, that's what they're banking on, and yeah, they're going to need it. They are going to need it for sure. A non-starter to know, they put running back Amari DeMercado. He was is that how you say it? DeMercado? He came from Arizona.
Yeah.
He's kind of just been cycled as just there. Like he's a good, reliable backup running back, a good RB2.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate.
He's had a couple stretches, like fantasy football.
Yeah.
If you play fantasy football, you know him.
Yeah.
Because there are certain weeks he will just fuck your team.
Yeah.
And then you probably won't see him again the rest of the year. But he'll do that. He'll do that for a few weeks out of the year. So they talk about, obviously, the big addition of Kenneth Walker. But Kenneth Walker has never had more than 230 carries in a season. He's played all 17 games only once in his career, which was last year. So, with his age, injury concerns, workload, that kind of stuff. Who's the dude they just got? Who was their running back before? I'm blanking on his name.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
Well, they had
Pacheco.
Pacheco,
so with Pacheco being gone, DeMercado slotting in, he's going to get some work there, and he's going to be sounds like he's going to have a role cut out for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. I was really just going to touch on the fantasy where that was like the ultimate bench guy.
He was.
When you needed a guy, that was the guy
and
to
you
pick
could
up.
usually hit the wire and get him, and then he'll hit the wire again in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he'll cycle around. But we should do a fantasy football episode.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right, so moving on, at 13 is the Chargers. We are just behind Kansas City. Again, I don't agree with that. I understand it's Patrick Mahomes. I understand it's Andy Reid. I understand it's the Chiefs, so we can talk about the dynasty that they've had over the last 5 to 10 years. But simply going through this roster, I would argue this to my grave. I don't see how they have a better roster than us. I just don't. And I would go position by position with any Chiefs fan to make this argument. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I can understand the teams before that. I'm not going to argue, the Houston, San Francisco, Green Bay. Like, I think we're all in that same tier. But the Chiefs, I just don't agree with that. I don't. For the Chargers, our biggest strength, they put offensive tackle, which I think, again, the cop-out is, are we healthy? But I completely agree with this. I think with Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, you will struggle finding any team in the entire NFL that can present a better tackle duo than that.
You can't.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it is absolutely incredible. I mean, Joe Alt is, in my opinion, I think Joe Alt could be like the next Lane Johnson, and I don't say that like as a stretch. Like we always joke, like the next Charger is this, the next Charger is this. I truly mean that because I think Joe Alt is that type of generational tackle.
And that's the first one that I'll give you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a realistic take. I do mean that. I think Joe Alt is going to be a generational tackle. What he means to this team, I've always said, outside of Herbert, Joe Alt's your most important player this team has to offer. And then we're banking on Rashawn Slater coming back. We made him the highest paid left tackle in history just over a year ago, and then he immediately blew that patellar tendon. So we're banking on Slater coming back to form. But I agree. I think having those two on your line, even if you have the 3 worst guards in the league, you raise that floor so much because those
absolutely.
are 2 top 5, arguably top 5 dudes in this league. So biggest strength, offensive tackle for the Chargers. Biggest weakness, this is no surprise, it's the guard position. And it always has been the guard position. This isn't a surprise to me. Should the guard room be better than it was last year? Yes, I totally agree it should. However, we lost Zion Johnson, and he had a rough start to his career, former first-round pick from Boston College, but he actually played pretty decently last year. He was the most consistent offensive lineman we had the entire year, and then Mekhi Becton was just garbage addition. We replaced them with free agent Cole Strange, and then obviously the second-round pick Jake Slaughter, and then we re-signed Trevor Penning. We have Awasika for backups, but we're banking on Jake Slaughter here.
Well, isn't Awasika getting like first?
He is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save that for our training camps as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake Slaughter, we're banking on him making that transition from center to guard. Cole Strange, is he maybe a better option than Mekhi Becton because of his Mike McDaniel and Butch Berry connections? I think so, and I can get behind that. But you can look at the tape and you can look at his numbers. Cole Strange has not been a good guard in this league. He just hasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully we get more out of him than what we're seeing. But yeah, I agree. I think if you look at the Chargers roster as a whole, that guard position is our biggest question mark. So moving on, X factor for 2026, they have the Chargers pass rush. And they specifically mentioned, can Khalil Mack still deliver pass rush snaps at age 35 to get those sack numbers up? And then we lost Odafe Owe, but we spent our first-round pick on Akeem Mesidor from Miami. So that X factor, right, we're banking on. Odafe Owe came in and put up 10 sacks in his first, 7 games with us, and then had a 3-sack performance in our playoff game against New England. So he was incredible for us. He was a fantastic addition. He meshed extremely well with Tuipulotu and Khalil. Khalil obviously suffered the elbow and forearm injury last year and missed 6 or 7 games. So, I agree with that. However, is it a little bit of a question mark? Anytime you have a player that's getting older and at the age of 35, that's a tough position to play effectively, that the type of snap count that Khalil is going to have to take. But I think this is just banking on Mesidor at this point.
Yeah.
Which I speak highly of Mesidor. I always have. I wanted Mesidor in the draft. I had him in our mock draft when we did it. I'm super excited about what he's going to bring to the team. But with any rookie comes the risk.
Yeah.
So
you don't know what you're getting.
That'll be the X factor on defense. And obviously Jesse Minter's gone. So we have a new defensive coordinator. We're going to see some changes back there. And then non-starter to know is tight end Charlie Kolar, which I don't know.
Is it though? I mean, he's not dynamic in the pass game. He's excellent at blocking.
And I think that's what they're getting at with this is just the untapped potential in that pass game. Because Charlie Kolar, before he came to the NFL, he was a pass catching first option in college, all throughout college. But then in Baltimore, you got to figure he's behind all pro tight end and Mark Andrews. And then a rising star, if you want to call him that, Isaiah Likely, who emerged and just got a massive deal with New York. And he wasn't getting pass-catching snaps. And why would he, right?
Well, so my only point here is if he's getting pass-catching snaps on your team, something went wrong. Because you have Aronde Gadsden and Njoku above him. So if Kolar's getting any important...
Yeah, they love Kolar, and they paid him. But I think they want to do some of what the Rams done last year is those 3 tight end sets.
Yeah.
And having McDaniel have that flexibility that I can run a 3 tight end set with 3 viable options in David Njoku, Aronde Gadsden, and Charlie Kolar. Let's see. They talk about... Chargers didn't bring him in to be a receiver. We know that. He got 3-year, $24.3 million. Highest paid blocking tight end. And I think Darnell Washington surpassed that.
Oh, I don't know.
I think his contract from Pittsburgh actually surpassed that. But, yeah, you'll see a lot of Kolar in 12 and 13 personnel. The Ravens averaged 5.8 yards per carry when he's on the field and 4.6 or 4.7 yards per carry without him on the field. So we know his impact as a blocker. I think Charlie Kolar is definitely going to be on the field a lot this year. A lot. He was a priority for them. So, yeah, that covers it for the Chargers. We still should be number 12. I'm a little pissed about that. We'll jump down to the Raiders. The Raiders are rebuilding, guys. The Raiders are what they are. But we're an AFC West podcast. We are going to talk about the Raiders. They ranked 27th in the league for just their overall roster construction. Right before them, you have teams like the Saints, the Jets, the Panthers. Biggest strength, tight end. Obviously, when you have Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, you're set. Mm-hmm. Biggest weakness, the interior defensive line. Banking on Adam Butler, Thomas Booker. That's really about it. Benito Jones. It's not a good interior. The X factor, they mentioned the right side of their offensive line. They're a little bit bullish on Jackson Powers-Johnson, and I actually don't mind Jackson Powers-Johnson.
No.
But they mentioned a little bit weak in pass protection. He is better as a run blocker for sure. And then their right tackle being DJ Glaze.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Dude, I don't. I was trying to read to see if they said anything about him, but yeah, improving pass protection on the right side is their X factor to keep Mendoza up and healthy. And then non-starter to know, again, someone that I'm not familiar with, guard Caleb Rogers.
No.
Are you familiar?
No.
He was not a problem, according to them, on the offensive line. He was primarily a tackle at Texas Tech, and then he moved inside with the Raiders. 6 starts, he had a 90.7 pass block win rate, which was actually higher than JPJ and higher than DJ Glaze, whoever that is. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be competing for the starting left guard spot. But that's it for the Raiders. I don't think there's any major surprises. I disagree with the Chiefs over the Chargers, but I wouldn't say I'm like surprised because we know the media coverage that the Chiefs get, and we know the return of Patrick Mahomes and the addition of Kenneth Walker and Rashee Rice getting out of jail, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But we know that I'm trying to be PC here. I was going to say that the dick sucking that the Chiefs have historically already got, you know. So I'm not surprised that they're right above us. But like I said, I would be happy to argue toe-to-toe our roster versus theirs. Do you have any surprises on this list? I agreed with Denver being above the rest for your overall roster construction. I think you guys are presenting a great starting roster.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, so the Chiefs were at 12, you guys were at 13. So
yeah.
I think that with that we are splitting hairs.
Sure.
You know, when we're looking at let's I guess start on the defensive side of the ball. Between you two, there's a lot of similarities in my opinion. I feel like your pass rush, you know, maybe I give the slight hand to you guys, but again, you're banking on Khalil Mack being great at 35. You're banking on Messidor actually, you know, blossoming into something good. You know, Tuipulotu, he's good, but he has to prove it again, just like Benito had to prove it again. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about your secondaries, I think it's very similar. You guys have Derwin James as the main guy in your secondary, and they have Mansour Delane, which again a rookie. So we don't know yet, but he's a pretty safe prospect.
Sure.
And then we're looking at your linebacking room, and you know I'd give the nod to the Chiefs there. So
yeah,
you know we're splitting hairs there, and then on offense, you know they do have the quarterback. You know, obviously Patrick Mahomes is better than Justin Herbert. And then when we're looking at weapons on the offensive side of the ball, while yes, there's more questions around what the Chiefs have, simply because I feel like their weapons are just not great anyways. But then you have Rashee Rice, that who knows what the hell's going on with him. I don't know. I just feel like you could kind of go either way with those two teams, and I feel like 12 and 13 is pretty appropriate.
Yeah, I'm glad that they at least put us neck and neck in the same tier. Rather, if the Chiefs were like 4 spots ahead of us, I would probably throw these German beers at the wall or something. But I agree, we're at least close. But the counter to that, and talking about the defensive side of the ball, the pass rush thing, Tuipulotu is a better pass rusher than George Karlaftis. Mm-hmm. You know, being a Pro Bowl player, just being top 5 in sacks, top 5 in his tackle for losses as a pure edge pass rusher, his pressures, he's better than George Karlaftis. And they're searching for a second rusher. They're searching for something that can just be productive. And we have Khalil Mack, who is still an elite run stopper. He may not be an elite pass rusher anymore, but he's an elite run stopper. And Khalil Mack will still get you 6 sacks, right? He's not going to go put up these 15, 17 sack seasons that we become accustomed to in his career. But I feel incredibly more safe with Akeem Messidor at pick 22, who, yes, is 25 years old, but he's well more defined and he's well more polished at his age and his experience than our Mason Thomas is. I feel much better about relying on Messidor versus our Mason Thomas and having Khalil Mack also as an insurance for a 6-sack season or whatever you want to call it. And then the ceiling of Tuipulotu, I think, is much higher than the ceiling of George Karlaftis. I like that room more. Their cornerback room and our cornerback room, I would agree, they'll have the star power with Delane. I know he's a rookie. I pencil Delane in as a star right away. I don't have a lot of doubts about him. Yeah. I think our safety room is night and day better. I think we are actually pretty loaded at safety. I think our offensive line is going to be better. Our weapons, I think, are going to be better. I think our tight end room I understand they have Travis Kelce, but our tight end room as a whole offers a lot more. I think our running back room is a lot more complete. I know they have Kenneth Walker, but I think Omarion Hampton will be better than Kenneth Walker this year. I think he's going to blow up. I think everyone's ceiling on that offense is going to be seen with Mike McDaniel. And I think that'll quickly change a lot of thoughts about our offense versus someone else's.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's the ESPN roster rankings that just got released. They also did, I don't think it was ESPN, but they talked about the positional, NFL executive scouts and coaching personnel ranked their top positions, which we'll get into at the next episode. There's a little bit to talk about there, but let's fast forward to training camp, which is, like we talked about, it's right around the corner. Mm-hmm. We're all just looking for some kind of news, some kind of buzz to look forward to. What's happening in training camp? What are we looking forward to besides just seeing our favorite football team and players back on the field? What's going on in Broncos country with training camp that you as a fan are excited to see, not just seeing Bo Nix on the field throw a ball, but what deep dive into Denver in this training camp are you looking to see? What is your team trying to figure out? What are you excited for?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously what I'm most excited about is seeing the connection between Bo Nix and Jalen Waddle, see kind of what that flourishes into. Mm-hmm. And what I'm really excited to see is kind of the fingerprints that Davis Webb starts putting onto this offense. I believe that, as I've stated plenty of times, I think that Davis Webb is a rising star in this league. And I truly believe that we're going to see while it's still Sean Payton's offense, we're going to see a nice little jolt of energy that this offensive needed simply because of Davis Webb. When we're talking about training camp battles here, I think most of them are on the offensive side of the ball. And it's the running back room and the tight end room. Now, when I'm talking about the running backs, so J.K. Dobbins is our number one. He's RB1 here. So that's not a battle there. But we're talking about the battle behind him, and that's between R.J. Harvey and Jonah Coleman. So who's RB2 there? But I feel like it's kind of nuanced in a way of I don't necessarily think that there's an RB2 role in this offense. I think that all of them are going to get roles. J.K. Dobbins is clearly your bell cow, but then I think that the natural role for R.J. Harvey is the receiving back. But the good thing with him is that the defenses have to respect him in the run game. I'm not saying that he's necessarily like the super dynamic runner, but teams still have to respect it, and I'm excited to see what progressions he's made there. And then obviously we're fixing to find out as far as what Jonah Coleman's actually going to be in this league. Can he be the guy that steps in for the inevitable J.K. Dobbins injury? Can he be the guy that's going through in between the tackles and get you 3.5 yards per carry? Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see how that shakes out there.
Yeah, with Denver, I think this is a little bit more fine-tuning for you guys in training camp because you guys primarily just ran it back. You guys brought in the big fish of Jalen Waddle, which you mentioned, and yeah, that's super exciting to see and see how he's going to mesh in this offense and be utilized, and Davis Webb taking over those play-calling duties. I think a lot of this is going to be on your rookies as well as on different position groups, just finding your role and fine-tuning it. Because you guys have, I think when you look at the pecking order of Denver, it's pretty set. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you have a ton of roster battles or positional battles that a lot of other teams are facing of, hey, this starting position's up for grabs. Let's see what happens, and we got 4 guys competing for this spot. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, you have to reach that 53-man roster, and everyone's going to be fighting for spots to get on that roster. But with Denver, yeah, I think you guys running it back, your pecking order is pretty much set on who your guys are, and you guys know it. Mm-hmm. And that's a good place to be in, too, though, because coming off the season you just had last year, you got to be pretty happy with that, too. And then you bring in a rookie class, and you bring in a big fish newcomer that you felt like you guys desperately needed on offense. So Yeah, when I look at Denver's training camp, I think a lot of it is fine-tuning and just establishing certain roles. You brought up good points with that running back room, and I couldn't agree more. Just getting R.J. Harvey and Jonah Coleman acclimated and figuring out their roles in that run game, because eventually, like you said, someone might have to step up, and you may not have a established RB2. And if J.K. goes down, it might be a just committee of let's identify Jonah Coleman's specific skill set and use that to the best we can, and RJ Harvey's, and let's just run it as a committee and see what we can do. So, I think the things I'd most be excited about for you guys is seeing Jalen Waddle in the blue and orange has got to be just super exciting for you guys.
Orange and blue.
But orange and blue, it's the same shit. It's ugly, dude. It's in the Arapahoe County jumpsuit uniforms. It's ugly, dude. Yeah. But yeah, seeing him in your guys' uniform and just watching those tapes of him catching passes from Bo Nix is going to be extremely exciting for you guys.
Yeah.
So, training camp on our front, I think the biggest storylines for us is the left guard position. We have 4 out of those 5 spots filled and set with starters. No question about it. The left guard is just... I think it's just truly up for grabs right now. I think ideally when you spend that draft capital to bring in Jake Slaughter and announce him as a guard, even though he's never played guard in college at Florida, you're banking on some big stuff from Jake Slaughter. And he was an incredible center throughout his days in college, and you're banking on him just making that transition. But like Jim Harbaugh always says, competitors welcome. Your spot's not safe on this roster, right? Mm-hmm. Your spot as a starter, I don't care where we drafted you, is not safe, right? Everybody's got to come in and earn it. So I think a lot of the eyes for us is going to be on that offensive line as a whole. Keeping your tackles, your staples of the line healthy. You brought in Tyler Biotish, getting him acclimated to this offense with Mike McDaniel. You bring in Mike McDaniel's offensive line coach from Miami, and now you're just plugging in. Cole Strange is like a seamless fit because he just played under their offense and he knows it. So that's great. But now you're just getting the rest of the line on board. And that's a lot easier with guys like Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, who are vets. I mean, Joe Alt's young, but he acts like a vet in this league. Those guys can get on board quickly. But now it's just getting Biotish there, getting your left guard spot figured out. And honestly, I think the other storyline, something to watch for us, is the wide receiver room as a whole. They're not closing the door on Keenan Allen, and that's a whole nother topic if we want to get into Keenan Allen. However, I think outside of Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, what are we going to see out of this room? And who's going to, we know Trey Harris right now is slotted to be your wide receiver 3. Okay, he was the second-round pick from Ole Miss last year. They love what they see out of Trey Harris. They are extremely, extremely excited for Trey Harris and his development, and now him getting that opportunity. But you got to shake out the rest of the room, and you got this rookie, Brennan Thompson, this speedster that just blew up in the OTAs and rookie minicamp that no one can stop talking about and so excited for. And then you have Keandre Lambert-Smith too. So just seeing that these 3 guys, Ladd and Quentin, are set. I think we know what we have there, but getting these 3 guys and letting them just battle it out to see what we have in that receiver room outside of our big 2 is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say my biggest... outside of that, my biggest question for you guys is who's the other safety outside of Derwin James? I know you guys have a room of guys there, but for me, they're all kind of the misfits of the league.
Yeah,
and they've been
they're productive.
Somewhat productive, but
they're not.
But it's nothing. It's not a star name guy.
No, it's not. And then I'm glad you brought up that safety room. Because Derwin James is primarily just playing slot right now. And we're assuming that Chris O'Leary, the new defensive coordinator, is going to keep that trend up. Mm-hmm. He just made first-team All-Pro as a slot corner, or second-team All-Pro, whatever it was. And they want to keep that as is for Derwin. Obviously, he has that flexibility to go all over that defense, but primarily they would like to keep Derwin as your slot. And then Tony Jefferson is back, and he just came off. Somehow the dude's still having some of his best. That was the most interceptions he's ever had in a season. And
Can't stand him.
And he's like 35 years old or some shit.
Can't stand him.
But still an extremely effective player, and his football IQ is so high. He's got a ton of experience in this league. So you have Tony Jefferson. They're anticipating a bounce back year from Elijah Molden. When we first got Elijah Molden from Tennessee, his first year was fantastic. He was great. We were super lucky to have him, and then he dipped a little bit that second year. So we're hoping for more from Elijah Molden. And then a name to watch that I think should be getting a lot of starter reps is R.J. Mickens. He was a rookie last year from Clemson. That beer's still fucking...
No.
It's AC.
Fucking leather on my leg, dude.
But yeah, R.J. Mickens, guy to watch, and then Genesis Smith from University of Arizona. If he can just figure out how to tackle somebody, he's a ball hawk. So one last thing with the Chargers training camp is the linebacker room as a whole, and specifically Junior Colson. That's a name we haven't talked about in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's being talked about every year this time of year because Junior Colson was a third-round pick from Michigan, and on paper, he was like the best linebacker in college football that year. He was the best linebacker in that draft class, if not one of the top 2 or 3 best linebackers in that class. We thought Junior Colson was a sure thing. Like, it was going to be the easiest transition from Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter, Michigan, straight to the Chargers, and he passed every test that you could imagine, and then we saw nothing. So he was shit, and then he's just had two terrible injuries where he hasn't been on the football field in nearly 2 seasons. So Junior Colson, you're afraid that if that's a guy that may not make the cut, your chances of bringing him back are very slim. Understandably, what he's done in the league is not impressive. However, teams are going to fall in love with the idea of fixing him. Yeah. Someone at that age with that draft capital that he had, with the college tape he had, with the traits he has, someone's going to pick up Junior Colson. And we just have a pretty stacked linebacker room of roles. And I think that's going to be a big one to see if this is kind of, in my opinion, his final chance. I think if Junior Colson can't do it this year and make a name for himself and show why he was that draft pick and what he did in college, I think Junior Colson's days with the Chargers are done.
Yeah. So what I think round that's was he drafted in?
Third. Yeah, third round. Okay. But yeah, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And then obviously just Justin Herbert's mechanics, switching up his footwork, and all the storylines of Chargers training camp are going to be Mike McDaniel. Let's just be honest. It has been since the day we brought him in. He's a high publicity guy, and he's just going to be a star of the show. So I think everything with Chargers training camp is going to be what Mike McDaniel's doing to this team.
Yeah. Sweet.
What you got for? Do you have anything for Chiefs or Raiders training camp that you? I mean, Raiders is going to be.
Here. So as far as for the Chiefs, obviously it's that right tackle position that we were talking about. Who kind of comes out in front there. It's Jalen Moore is the expected guy to get the first snaps there. But you're also looking at Khalil Benson and Issa Poole.
Oh, Issa Poole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, so that right tackle position is by far the most criticized there, and the one that you need to be looking at. And then it's also the cornerback room. So obviously Mansour Delane is the one there, but it's who's playing on the opposite side there. Mm-hmm. Obviously they brought back L'Jarius Sneed. Yeah. But you still have Christian Fulton, and then they also drafted Kennedy. So
I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
And L'Jarius Sneed fits well with how much time he spent with the Chiefs. And I think anyone that's seen Sneed in the last 2 years can understand his best years are behind him. Yeah. And the league has kind of passed L'Jarius Sneed by. And he was highly effective in his prime years with Kansas City. But he was a very, very poor corner last year for Tennessee. He can't do it anymore. I mean, his last 2 years have not been effective. He's got the familiarity with Kansas City, and the return makes sense because it's a position of need, and it's someone that's a lot easier to just slot into your roster and acclimate to the team. But they need some kind of bounce back or just some effective reps from L'Jarius Sneed without relying solely on Kennedy.
Yeah.
So I think that cornerback room, and then last thing with the Chiefs is that edge too. I think really excited to see our Mason Thomas on the field, and maybe he can make a name for himself compared to the other guys that they have fighting for that pass rush.
Yeah. And then, I mean, as far as like the Raiders go, they have camp battles at pretty much everywhere.
A lot.
Whether it's starting positions or just depth in general. obviously the big battle is between Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza. Yeah. We all believe that Cousins is going to come out on top, at least to start the season.
Yep.
But, I mean, they've been talking highly about what Fernando has been doing there and OTAs and whatnot. So maybe he is the surprise and he does start week 1. Who knows?
Yeah. Seeing Kubiak just run his first ever training camp with this new team is going to be exciting for Raiders fans. So that's going to be a big storyline, having Kubiak and Mendoza, and all the eyes are going to be just on Mendoza's reps. It's going to be super fun to watch him. Right before preseason starts, you're starting to get some actual football play from these guys, especially those rookies. So it's going to be really exciting for them just watching Mendoza, even if they know Kirk Cousins starting round 1 or week 1. Everyone's going to know that Mendoza's this is going to be his organization. That's why you drafted him first overall. All eyes are going to be on him and his development in camp. So that'll be fun. The right side of their line. And then, honestly, they got to figure out that receiver room and how that's going to track. Their pecking order receiver, it's uninspiring what they have in that room, and they're going to have to figure that out.
I like Naylor, though.
Yeah, Jalen Naylor's going to have to do something there. And then, was it Trey Tucker and Jake Beck is who they drafted. So, yeah, they got some unproven guys in there, and they're banking that. I like the addition of Naylor, but there's still a lot that needs to be shown from him, too.
Yeah.
In the role he's going to be taking. So I think they'll be fun to watch their linebackers. They revamped that linebacker room. I mean, you've seen Nakobe Dean play and you've seen Quay Walker play, but it's going to be exciting for not for me, but for Raiders fans. It's going to be exciting to see them on the field.
No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, we could get into a whole bunch more of battles for the Raiders, such as the corner room, their defensive line, like all that stuff. But we'd probably be here for another half hour talking about that. So let's get into some of the preseason betting totals and odds. So kind of what I did on my end, and Matthew has some for him, but I just went over like statistically. So passing yards for the quarterbacks, the lead running back rushing totals for the year, and then the receiving totals for the year for top targets on each team. So
do you want to start it off?
Yeah, we'll start with the
right,
statistics, and then we'll kind of get into the...
This is more team-oriented.
Yeah. So starting off with the quarterbacks, do you want to take a stab at what the books had as the number one passer in the division in terms of yards for the season?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mahomes here,
Yeah.
and I'll take a shot and say it's right around that 4,000 mark.
Well, it's actually right at 4,000.
Is it?
Yeah. So Patrick Mahomes, the sports books. This isn't any just one sports book. I kind of grabbed all the main ones. So FanDuel, DraftKings, all that stuff, and averaged it out. But they have him right at 4,000 yards, and the most in the division. So are you taking the over/under on Patrick Mahomes at 4,000 yards? Mahomes.
Mahorny? So dumb.
Have another beer.
This is good. Obviously, he's going to depend on his recovery from the ACL and what time we're looking at for him playing.
Mm-hmm.
Even missing one game can average out 250 yards roughly, right? Mm-hmm. If that's what he's averaging out. So I'm going to take the over on it. I will for Mahomes. I do expect some level of a bounce back year. I'm obviously not as high on the Chiefs as a lot of people are this year with this comeback story that they're trying to run. But if I had to guess who was first, Mahomes, and I agree with that. I don't have any doubts about that. And I'll take the over, but not by much. I think 4,200 is a rough number that I'd be comfortable.
Man, so I think it's going to be right around 4,000. I'm actually going to take the under on this. And my reason for that is if he plays a full 17 games, that's 235 yards per game, which is very doable for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But if you even take that down to 15 games that he played, he has to get like 265 yards a game, which, again, doable, but tough. The point that I want to make here is that they brought in Kenneth Walker. I don't think that Kenneth Walker is in line for like 1,500 yards this year,
Right.
but I do think that he is in line for above 1,000. And as you found out a few episodes ago when I yelled at you for having 4,700 passing yards and 1,500 rushing yards on one team, when you have a good rusher on your team and he gets over 1,000 yards, that means that your quarterback doesn't have as many passing yards. Mm-hmm. So I think Patrick Mahomes will be right around that 4,000 yard passing mark. But I could see it being like at 3,900 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, no, certainly. I think the biggest thing for me on this is, can their pass catching group as a whole step up? And if they can, I'm comfortable with the over on this. Can Rashee Rice stay out of trouble and stay on the field? If that's the case, I'm comfortable with it. If Xavier Worthy has a solid season, if who's their Tyquan Thornton, right? If these guys, if Travis Kelce can still be a serviceable at his age, Kenneth Walker, I agree with your point. However, I'm not fully sold on Kenneth Walker's workload or games played. Like we talked about, he's played a full season once in his NFL career. Mm-hmm. He has struggled with injuries in his time in Seattle, and he's never surpassed like 230 some odd carries per year. So I'm curious to see how the Chiefs are going to utilize him and what type of workload they're going to give him. If they're going to be more on the preserving side of Kenneth Walker, then I'm hammering that over. But if they want to just run K9 to the ground, then yeah, I think you have a point.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the number 2 quarterback in this division. Would you like to take a guess at who that might be?
Yeah, I assume it's Herbert.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. I think Herbert and Nix are probably pretty close in yards. Would be my guess on the sportsbook lines, but. Yeah, I'm comfortable saying Herbert at 2.
Yeah, so we have Justin Herbert at number 2 at 3,600 yards.
Okay.
I think
both. What is Nix at?
So yeah, Bo Nix is at number 2, or at number 3. Sorry.
Well, how close?
And he's at 3,450.
3,450.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty close.
So I think that these two numbers are relatively kind of criminally low. Mm-hmm. In my opinion.
Yeah, I would take the over on both personally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the over on both as well. I think, when we're talking about Justin Herbert, I can see him getting to around that 4,000 yard mark. But it's just like these numbers are really odd to me because these numbers would be like the lowest numbers of their careers.
Right.
And I just don't see that happening. Obviously, you're bringing in McDaniel there in L.A., and I think that he's going to offer a lot of juice to that offense. I'm not sitting here projecting a 4,200 yard season out of Herbert. I know you're projecting 5,000, but I see it being more than 3,600. I see it being closer to $4,000. And then when we're talking about Bo Nix, the guy's played 2 seasons already and has demolished 3,400 yards. So I don't understand where they got the number of 3,450 at there.
Yeah, he 37 his first year, 39 the second year. Yeah. So they're also going career low for Nix's yards. Do you think any of that has to do with health? In your opinion, do you think it is something to do with concerns over the ankle or something, or do you think it's something else?
What
would you?
I can't see how you would project health into that, simply because he made an appearance in the final week of OTAs. The team has stated, his doctor has stated he is 100% ready to go. So I don't know how any sports book would factor that in there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, yes, you can project an injury in the middle of the season, but if we're saying Bo Nix is healthy, to give him 3,400 yards is wild to me, especially knowing that this
that's
Broncos
lower
offense,
than I imagined. I honestly was anticipating Nix being 35 to 36. Mm-hmm. And even then, I probably would still take that over, but I wouldn't expect 34. And with Herbert, I was expecting probably 38. And you got to figure, he just had Greg Roman for the last 2 years, which was trash. He had no offensive line the last 2 years. One of the worst offensive coordinators, one of the worst offensive lines, just a shit show of a scenario, and he still put up 38 and 39. Yeah. So it's like, I understand the concept of what the Chargers are doing to establish a run game, and the Omari and Hampton lines are going to be through the roof, and I fully support that. But if he's putting up 38 with these, like you're going to get Justin Herbert a serviceable offensive line that's going to be above league average, and you're inserting one of the best play callers in the entire National Football League. I think that is just disrespectful to say 36. I think that's crazy.
Yeah. No, both of those numbers seem rather low to me, and I think that, well, both of them I don't think necessarily surpass 4,000 yards by much. But I can see both of them getting damn near 4,000 yards this year.
Yeah. I'd go on a limb, and I'll say one of them breaks 4K this year.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah. So the last quarterback that we have here, so with the Raiders, I did not go with Kirk Cousins. I decided to look up Fernando Mendoza's over-under here. They have him at 2350. So I kind of did some math. If he plays 8 games, that's like 290 yards a game. If he plays 10, that's like, I want to say, quick math, 235 yards a game. So let's say he plays 10 games. I'm still taking the under on him throwing 235 yards a game. I think a realistic number would be, if we're saying he plays 10 games, 1,800 yards.
Yeah. So. Yeah, this is just a gamble on when he's seeing the field.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. I think 10 games is pretty fair. I think I said, week 7 was the Jets game or something like that where we predicted it. So it's just going to be how quickly can he get on the field and get Kirk Cousins off. Yeah. So I don't even have a take on this one just because I have no idea when we're going to see Mendoza get actual full game reps, and is he taking that for the full season and how that looks. I agree with your analysis. I think if he's playing 10, I probably would take the under 2 just with the opponents the Raiders are going to be facing, with their offensive line, with that wide receiver room, with a brand new system. I would be more comfortable looking at Mendoza next year and this year just being a gamble.
Yeah.
What else did you pull? Rushing and receiving?
Yeah, rushing and receiving.
Did you do sacks or no?
I tried to do sacks. I couldn't really find it.
Let's do rushing and receiving. So, you want to do rushing first?
Yeah, we can. All right. So there is a thin margin between first and second place here. Who do you think they projected as the number 1 running back in terms of rushing yards this year?
I think they probably put Kenneth Walker. I think they should put Omari and Hampton.
Okay, well, you're wrong on
both. Is it Hampton?
No, it's Genty.
Oh, fuck. How did I forget Ashton Genty? Dude, I'm retarded. I was literally just going like, think matter trinket. Okay. Let me give you, for Genty, I'd say they put 1,050.
They have him at 960.
960. I'll take the over there.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over there too. Yeah. I'm just going to go out
fuck
and...
Fuck that, dude. Like, no.
Again, Matthew, you can't have a fucking 4,200 yard passer.
There is no... No. Okay. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the over on Genty as well. I think he actually kind of blows this out of the water, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I said 1,050, and I still would probably say over. Like, I could see an 1,100 yard season from Genty this year. I could see 12 maybe. Yeah. I think the ceiling's extremely high.
I would agree with that.
In a Kubiak offense, Tyler Linderbaum's on it. Like I'd take Genty on the over.
Yeah.
960?
Yeah, 960. So in second place.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Hampton's not even second.
He is.
All right, that makes me happy. All right.
Yeah, so
I thought you were about to tell me Hampton was 3rd or 4th, and I was going to say
no.
They got me fucked up.
Yeah, so Omarion Hampton comes in at number 2, and he's at 950, so only 10 yards behind Genty.
Okay. All right. I feel a little better.
So,
dude, I would put my mortgage on the over. Like, fuck this. Like, hammer the over. Omarion Hampton hype train. Like, get on it. That is one thing I'm so comfortable saying. Like, hop on it, dude. Hampton's going to blow.
Yeah, I am going to take the over here.
This guy is legit.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of the best in the entire league. I think what's in store this year, assuming he stays healthy, is going. I loved what I saw from Hampton last year, and I know it was a small sample size with the injuries, and we had the Najee stuff going on, and then Kamani Vidal, and then Hampton went out, and then Hampton didn't even play the playoff game. But dude, what you saw from Hampton, just watch him. That's all you gotta say. Like the eye test tells you something, and that dude is gonna blow up under Mike McDaniel. And everything they're putting forth with Charlie Kolar, Alec Ingold, David Njoku, Tyler Biadasz, like, dude, hammer that over.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Omarion Hampton is a star in this league. I could see him getting to 1,100 yards pretty easily.
Is that what your prediction, around 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so number 3, we have Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
They have him at 925 yards. I personally am going to take the under on this. I think Kansas City tries to get back to their air raid ways. And
God damn it, dude. That one's hard.
Yeah, I see Patrick Mahomes coming in around that 4,000-yard mark, and I honestly can see Kenneth Walker being closer to 800 yards than you see him getting to 1,000.
Yeah, I was just looking up for reference point what the last 4 years in Seattle looked like for Kenneth Walker. And last year, 1,027. 2024, 573. 2023, 905. 2022, 1,050. So he has those 2,000-yard seasons. Obviously, we are factoring in that there's a lot of games missed in between. Mm-hmm. And that's just like J.K. Dobbins. That's not something you can just overlook.
Yeah.
It's at some point in time, that's got to be factored in. You said 925.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go the under as well, but I'm going to say not by much. I think 900 is realistic.
Yeah.
But I don't see him inching towards that 1,000-yard season. I don't. Yeah, I'd say around. I'll take the under. I'll say around 900.
Perfect. All right, and then in last place, we have J.K. Dobbins.
You better enjoy these last places, dude.
Yeah.
The odds makers.
Dude, I don't get it.
Overrated.
So
what do they got for JK?
We have 675 yards. Obviously, they have to be factoring injuries into this.
This one's just.
Obviously, if J.K. Dobbins plays a full 17 games, I think he crushes this.
Agreed.
So, as a delusional Bronco fan, I'm going to live in that world for a second where J.K. Dobbins plays 17 games. Shit, I'll even take 15 games. And I think he gets over 675. I'm not projecting a 1,000-yard season from him. But I'll say that he gets to around 900 yards.
Okay. Yeah, this is a rare one where he's a rare Bronco that I will continue. You tried Black Cherry?
No.
Black Cherry did. These are good. He's a rare Bronco that I find myself continuing to root for because of the type of guy he is. I really like JK, and I like what he does on the football field. It's very obvious they're factoring in the health here, and I completely agree with you that if he's playing games, it's an easy over for me. I would say even factoring in some injury stuff, I'm still going to take that over on, was 675?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still take it.
So
dude.
Let's do...
I think JK gets you around 800 this year.
So...
And that's me factoring in some missed games, too.
So my thing is like, if J.K. Dobbins even only plays 10 games this year, that's 67.5 yards a game. Mm-hmm. Which, that's... a decent
It sounds
amount,
easy, but if you look at like the league averages and who's that, like these 100, no one's averaging these 80 to 100 yard games.
No, but I think that 67.5
is doable.
Is very doable.
Yeah.
And that's only 10 games played.
Right.
Let's bump it up to 12 games. So 675 divided by 12, that would be only 56 yards a game if he plays 12. So I don't know. I feel like the sports book here kind of is factoring in a ginormous injury for J.K. Dobbins, and I think that's kind of unfair.
I was just more curiosity seeing what players are. Dude, James Cook had 93 yards per game.
Yeah, that's
over
insane.
a 17 game span.
That is insane.
Yeah, he's a monster. Yeah, no, I'll take the over on JK, and even I'm gonna even factor in an injury, and I'm still gonna take that over.
Yeah, I'm factoring in an injury, and I'm smashing
unless it's some major season ending or like 8+ game, 10 game stretch where he's not playing, then we'll talk. But I think even with an injury, I'm talking maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and even with that, I'll probably take the over. Yeah. He's a great running back.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the wide receivers. Now, so there's a caveat here. So I was struggling to come up with the number one target for the Raiders. So I did not choose a wide receiver here for them.
Brock.
I chose Brock Bowers. So just keep that in mind here. As far as what the sports books think, who do you think they projected as the number one receiving target in terms of yards for the season?
I hate to say it. I think it's going to be one of your Broncos. I just don't know if they're going to put Waddle immediately over Cortland. People are still really high on Cortland. Oh, boy. Unless they're buying this Rashee Rice shit. Fuck it. Give me Jalen Waddle. Give me the new one. Give me the Penguin.
All right.
All right. There it is.
So Jalen Waddle is number one. They have him at 900 yards.
Okay.
Taking the over, the under here.
You know, I think you look at Waddle as a player and what he's done, and you might say 900 is a bit on the lower side or disrespectful, but I think there's context to it. And we talked about this in an episode where we did the buy or sell, and I think having Cortland Sutton, and you guys are going to start with this receiving back option with that Davis Webb wants to do, and you guys have some great pass catchers. I mean, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, those are good guys to have. Marvin Mims, those are good role players to have. I expect you guys to spread the ball out. Waddle's going to get a lot of attention, as he should. That's why I understand why it's at 900 and not higher. I don't think it's because of the player Waddle is. I think it's because he's playing alongside another guy you could argue is a wide receiver one as well. But with that, I'm going to take the over on 900. I think Waddle gets pretty close to 1,000, and I think Cortland Sutton puts between 8 and 9.
Yeah,
like I think I said in that buy or sell that you guys may be able to get a 2,000 yard tandem
duo. Yeah. No, I'm in lockstep with you here. I'm taking the over here. I don't know how much over 900 yards, but I'll take the over here.
Yeah, if you said 1,000, I would honestly take the under.
I think that's a fair argument.
Sure. Yeah. But I think he's closer to 1,000 than he is closer to 900.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable taking the over on Waddle there. And like I said, it's going to be very productive because you're still going to get Cortland Sutton involved, and he's still going to put up. He could put up 900 himself too. I'd be curious what his line's at, but yeah, that duo is nice, dude. That's going to be nice. I'll take the over.
Okay. So who is in second place, do you think?
Give me Brock Bowers.
You are on it now. Yeah. So Brock Bowers, they have it 860.
This is a little bit more difficult. And again, it's like the same thing I said with Waddle. It's not because of Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
But we're looking at their quarterback situation here. And what's going to happen with Kirk
are they going to be a
Mendoza,
running team or
how are they going to handle Genty and the Kubiak offense? There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of changes in that Vegas. They're still Oakland. The Vegas offense, dude. So that's more difficult than it should be. I easily want to say over because Brock Bowers is such a machine. But I think you're going to see a little bit of hurdles here in this Raiders offense in this new era. So you said 875?
860.
860? Give me the under.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the under too, just because.
Give me the over.
All right,
one of us.
You can take the over.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, I just feel like it's kind of like a unicorn type of thing for tight ends to get that much.
Yeah,
No,
I'll take the under. I'll stick with what I said. I want us to. I was hoping one of us goes on a limb here. That's what's hard. These lines,
man. My ass hurts.
That's not the chair. Yeah, I was just pulling Brock's stats. So, 24, he had almost 1,200 yards.
That's gross.
And then 680 last year.
Well, then I'll take the over.
Take it.
I'm taking
You
the
take
over.
the over.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with the under, and I'm still going to say it's around 800. And like I said, I don't think that's because of Brock Bowers. I think if Brock Bowers goes out and puts up another 1,000-yard season of tight end, like I won't be surprised at all. He's the best tight end in the NFL. He is an insane player. I fully expect that's in his realm of capabilities, but I just think I think there's too many question marks.
How many yards did he get last year?
680.
And that was he was injured.
Did he play? Yeah, I was gonna say he missed some time, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that 860 is pretty doable for him.
How many games? No, he played. Wait, no. That was his first year. He played 12 games.
Yeah. I'm taking the over here.
He missed 5. Okay. No, I think that's 860. Tell me that third is not far from him.
It's not.
Okay, I feel better.
Do you?
No, because it's not going to be Ladd, and it should be, but it's not going to be. Personally, I know I would put Ladd. That's easy.
It is Ladd McConkey.
Is it Ladd?
Yeah.
I was going to say, did they throw Cortland here?
Well, actually, I'd never looked up runs on
or Rasheed.
Cortland, Sutton.
Did you just take like the wide receiver one from each team? Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I can dive into DraftKings, but you'll probably get this quicker than I will. Here's what I'll say with Ladd at 3. You said 850. Is that what you gave me?
So Ladd McConkey's at 850.
Over. And you could probably give me almost any Charger on offense, and I'll say over. And that's not the bias. I think Mike McDaniel will reach career highs with several of these guys.
Yeah, we get it, Matthew. You think you're going to have a record-breaking year, dude.
I'm just telling you, dude. Ladd, I understand what he did his rookie year, and there was a dip in his second year. Was that partially on him? He had uncharacteristic drops, and he didn't play the best. But he had no fair shot with Greg Roman. So I'm going to go easy. And dude, I'll go out on a limb, and I'll say Ladd hits another 1,000-yard season. I'll take the over by 200 yards.
So I'm going to take the over here too, and I'll even take it as far as I think Ladd McConkey is going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL this year. In terms of statistics.
Statistic wise, okay. Yeah, I think, and again, this is not just trying to suck Mike McDaniel's dick, but I think Ladd's going to blow up in his offense, just like I said with Amari Hampton. Mike McDaniel is a genius in hitting the easy buttons, Mike, Jesus. And Ladd has those characteristics. He has those qualities. He is going to be ridiculous in the slot. He's going to feed him just easy passes all day long. He's going to get the ball out of Herbert's hands quick. Ladd's going to eat in this offense, and he's going to remind people why he did that Texans game in the playoffs in Wild Card, where we blew it, that 197-yard, 2-touchdown game. He's going to show people why that was not a one-off. Mm-hmm. Ladd, I agree. I think I'm not going to go as far as to say top 5 statistically. Even as a Chargers fan, I think I would sell on that. But I think Ladd hits another 1,000-yard season, and I think he does fantastic. I'll take the over easy.
Sweet.
What did you find Cortland's?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
So Cortland's
750.
No, he's at 800.
800. Okay.
Yeah. So that would put him at number 5 on this list.
Because Ladd was 3?
Yeah, Ladd was 3.
Is Rashee Rice?
So Rashee Rice is number 4.
7.
They have him at 825.
825.
With this, I'm going to take the over, just because I don't think. Well, actually, I never looked up Travis Kelce.
This is what's difficult with me with Rashee is not. So the counter argument is the availability, just like with J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
You're going on the availability of Rashee Rice this season. And if you're telling me Rashee Rice is available for the whole season, let's even say majority. Let's say 14-plus games, 13-plus games, whatever. I'll take the over because he's going to be force-fed a lot in that offense. And they don't have a lot of other options. And I know he's going to take the number 1 corner of every team. He's going to get the attention of every defensive coordinator that plays them on a Sunday. But he's going to be force-fed, and his volume, I think, is going to be really high. And so with that volume, even in garbage time, you're going to get some numbers out of Rashee Rice. So if the availability is there, I'll take the over. But, again, that's an if with the availability.
Yeah, I just think that there's really no other passing options. I mean, yes, you still have Travis Kelce, which will probably get you 700 yards this year, but outside of that, you know, if I'm projecting Patrick Mahomes to have 4,000 yards, like I have to take the over here on Rashee Rice. So, yeah, but that's as far as statistics goes. Good God, dude.
German beer,
dude. Yeah, that's all we have for the statistics. But Matthew, I know you have a few more.
Yeah,
here.
I'll just get a couple, and then we're well where we need to be. So this is more team oriented. There's a couple individual players. I started off first with just Super Bowl odds for the AFC West, and I even threw the Raiders in there. So if you want to make some money, go throw some money on the Raiders. Let's see here. Super Bowl odds. Who do you think's first?
Chiefs.
You are correct. So the Chiefs are at plus 1,600. And for the record, that ranks in like the top 8 of the entire NFL. For so I was going to pull up DraftKings because there's so many like 3- and 4-way ties with who's where. But the Chiefs are first with 1,600. And the second place team is
the Chargers.
It is the Chargers. And it is very close. We're at 1,700. Mm-hmm. So we are right behind them. And then you get Denver at the third at 2,000. And then the Raiders at 15,000. So you have any thoughts on that?
I just don't understand how all these people can like put the Broncos as like one of the best rosters in the league, but then get disrespected when it comes to Super Bowl odds, winning the division, stuff like that. Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I feel like people are when we're talking about the Chiefs. What are we doing?
I was going to say, how much of this is historical nostalgia
we're just like living
of
in
Kansas
the past
City?
here, I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like...
No, and as much as I dislike the Broncos and as much as I'll shit on them, whether it piss you off or just because I dislike them, the Broncos should be ahead of Kansas City here. And it pains me to say it because I hate the Chiefs, but I hate the Broncos more than the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And you guys are a better team than them. You just are. And we'll get to that when the next one's division winners, which follows track. But I think so much of this is just nostalgia of Kansas City.
Yeah, and it's just like I feel like people try to bring up all the time how the Patriots had their dynasty with Tom Brady, and there's so many differences. First of all, Patrick Mahomes is not Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of the top 2 best quarterbacks in NFL history. And Tom Brady never had to play in a division where there were 3 teams that were as good as what are in this division right now. And I don't understand why the Chiefs are constantly like up there when it comes to this stuff.
I think we just need to see another year of the Chiefs' downfall for people to start coming to the realization that it could be there. Mm-hmm. Right? I think you saw it last year, and whatever excuses you want to throw at the table, whatever you want to say about it, they're like, oh, that was the one-off. Chiefs are back. Chiefs are back. That's all you hear. Chiefs are back. And they're getting that with these odds makers, and they're getting that with these rankings. My problem with the Chiefs is there's too many holes on that roster, and there's too many things that I don't like that just don't stack up against the rest of the league that I can't ignore, right? And I understand that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy, and I understand a lot of their historical data and their dynasty, but that doesn't change the current. And that doesn't change the fact that the Chiefs right now don't field a better team than a lot of these other guys do. Mm-hmm. So, the Chiefs, there's 6 teams above the Chiefs in Super Bowl odds. Only 6. I think that's crazy. I do.
Yeah, and the fact that, we're sitting here and we agree that the Broncos have the best roster in this division, yet we're not in the top.
Yeah, and I know everyone can sit here and look at a roster on paper and say who's a better. And does that always mean everything? No, of course not.
No,
of course
but
it doesn't.
This roster also went to an AFC Championship game.
Exactly. But you guys aren't just fielding a roster that looks good in the offseason. Mm-hmm. You guys are coming off of an AFC Championship appearance where you should have been in the Super Bowl minus a freak injury to your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You guys just had, a 12-win season to win the division. 14-win season to win the division, and should have made the Super Bowl. It's not just looking at the paper only. It's not. So, yeah, that's the Super Bowl odds. This is going to be a quick one. Division winner is the exact same thing. You have the Chiefs at plus 160. You have the Chargers at plus 190. You have the Broncos at plus 225.
Again, I mean, all the same points that I just made. It's ridiculous.
So here's what I want to throw out there. I'm not as surprised that Kansas City is getting gloat. Like, that's football fans have become accustomed to that. We know that. I am genuinely a little bit more surprised that the odds makers are leaning more towards the Chargers than the Broncos when it comes to betting lines.
Mm-hmm.
And the roster rankings are a bunch of ESPN analysts. Say what you will, whatever. I think the Broncos and the Chargers are very close. I've said that from day one. I don't think if you're better, it's not by a ton. If we're better, it's not by a ton. I think we're very close in teams. And I think you guys do have a better roster. But I'm just surprised that the odds makers have put us above you guys. And it's not
close.
It's not that close. 190 and 225. 1,700 and 2,000. I mean, it's not terribly close.
Mm-hmm.
That does surprise me.
Yeah.
Because the Chargers have gotten... Do we get a lot of hype sometimes? Sure. But do we also get a lot of shit, too?
Yeah.
For how unhealthy we are, for how much injuries we suffer, for how Justin Herbert doesn't win a playoff game, for how we underachieve and just choke artist organization. So that does surprise me that these odds are leaning towards the Chargers.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I can't wrap my head around it. I don't understand it. I can't offer much outside of me being pissed off about it.
Yeah.
It just seems ridiculous to me. So.
And then we'll jump in. I just looked at win totals. The win totals, first place is the Chiefs at 10.5. You taking the over or under on that?
I'm gonna take the under, but I'm
At
projecting
10?
them at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what we had in our schedule release too. Broncos and Chargers have the same win totals. We're at 9.5, and I would take the over on both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah, I would. I think anywhere from 10 to 12 wins is fully on board. It wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs edge out like an 11-win season because those last 2 weeks can be crapshoots.
Yeah.
Depending on who they're playing and what the standings look like, how many meaningful games are we actually playing, but. That one, I'm glad it's at least just a one game away. But again, I see too many holes in that Chiefs team to get on board that they should be the favorite of the division.
Yeah.
MVP odds. Who do you think is first?
Are we talking league-wide?
League-wide MVP, yeah. And this is just for the AFC West. This isn't who leads the entire NFL for MVP.
Just so these West. Are just AFC
Just
West.
AFC West, yeah.
Okay, then Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Do you think it's close?
No.
So it's actually a tie.
Really?
Mahomes and Herbert have the exact same odds at plus 1,000.
Okay.
And then Knicks is third again. The Raiders don't have somebody for this conversation. So Knicks is at plus 3,500. And you have Herbert at 1,000, Mahomes at 1,000. So two-way tie, and go ahead.
I'll take that just because I don't think that there is a realistic shot at Bo Nix winning MVP. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, I can see Patrick Mahomes coming out and winning NFL MVP. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see him coming out and throwing for 4,200 yards, getting the Chiefs back to the playoffs. The league is all stoked about him and whatnot, and he wins the NFL MVP. I can't see Herbert winning MVP, but so I'm okay with those odds.
There's only 3 players above them, so they're pretty fucking high up there. They're in the top 5. It's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. So you have those 3. Then you have Herbert, Mahomes tied for 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
So, the only other thing I did was Coach of the Year, which isn't always telling of who's the best coach. You get for the record, Jesse Minter is second in the entire league at Coach of the Year odds. Really? Plus 900. He's second in the entire league in Coach of the Year odds. So it's not always of like who's the best coach in the entire NFL, but we see this time and time again where guys come over, they take over a team, they fucking ball out their first year and they win a coach of the year because of what they did with their brand new team. So, with that being said, where do you think Sean Payton landed of the 4 AFC West coaches? Where do you think Sean Payton landed?
Number 2.
Number 3.
Okay.
Number 3. Who do you think was first?
Andy Reid.
Jim Harbaugh.
Really?
Yep. So Jim Harbaugh got number 1 at plus 2,000.
That's wild to me.
Mind you, these guys are all pretty far down there. None of them are favorites, which is funny because I think our division has probably the best coaches in the entire National Football League.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh's at plus 2,000. Andy Reid's at plus 5,000. Peyton's at plus 10,000. And then Kubiak is like 12,000 or some shit.
See, if I was
Kubiak's at 2,000. I'm sorry.
If I was so Kubiak's number 1, technically
tied. So Jim Harbaugh 2,000, Clint Kubiak 2,000. So they're tied at 1. So Sean Payton was 4.
Okay, so I understand like why it goes in. Like I understand just because if Kubiak goes in there and shows some promise, like I get that.
Sure.
But if we're just simply ranking the head coaches in the AFC West.
Yeah, you get a much
it's
different
going
list.
Andy Reid. I'm taking Sean Payton, then Jim Harbaugh, and then I'm going Kubiak.
Yeah,
so.
those are tough ones because a lot of it is popularity, and if the Raiders somehow get above 500 and Mendoza balls out, and they like Clint Kubiak would probably win that. That doesn't mean he's better than Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, but that's just how it goes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's all I got.
Yeah,
so,
that's all I got. Now, what I want to put a disclaimer on this. Please, for the love of God, if you're listening to this, do not take any of this as gambling advice. We have no clue what we're talking about.
No, we're just presenting the odds and giving our opinions. So.
I will place bets every Sunday, and I lose 90% of them. So, do not listen to me. But yeah, with that being said, I'm glad we're back. Sorry for the short hiatus that we had. But yeah, just dealing with life stuff, So,
more to come. The next few weeks, we got to chug through like 2 weeks of finding some kind of material. So anything you see or want to talk about, let us know. We'll definitely throw it in there because we need some ideas for content just for 2 weeks. Training camp starts up, and it's going to be full steam from there, man. I mean. Shit, once this ramps up, we might get to like 2 episodes a week. We might be doing a lot more. There's going to be a ton to talk about. So looking forward to that. Things are only going to be picking up from here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, hey, this was fun. I'm glad we're back. But yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bolt up.
Go Broncos.